Hi, welcome to the gun room. What a 5 days, Jay. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm all right. Thanks.
It's been an awful 5 days. You've gone through the emotions of looking forward to something, then that crashes, then looking forward to something else, and that crashes. It's a hard one. We'll get to the Spurs and Newcastle games. It's been a really mixed reaction on social media, as you would expect. Um, some are looking to obviously get Arteta out. Some are looking at the team to start over again. Um, and for fans, have we been guilty of false expectations?
Um, I think potentially, yeah. I suppose so. I suppose there's always a danger of that when we come so close to exceeding everybody's expectations, right? We've come so close, and ultimately fell at the final hurdle. Um, and you're right. Social media reaction to the last couple of games, and obviously, practically, the Champions League hopes are practically over now. It is it's very chalk and cheese, isn't it? It's either you've got one side of the argument wanting Arteta out, and you've got the other side basically saying that we've done much better than most expected. There's no middle ground, is there? It's either one or the other. And I think it's more, I think a lot like to think that a large portion of those asking for or demanding Arteta's head after they've had time to think about it will
Your
realise
sound's
that.
going, Jay. Your sound's disappearing a little bit. But yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, when we spoke on the pod when we started season two, we actually said that we kind of felt that fifth would be a good and successful season. And here we are. All right, it offered much more, and we didn't get there. But I'm quite happy with that, really. And I did say to you some time ago as well, is that I didn't really feel that we were ready for Champions League football. So I'm disappointed, but I'm not, if you know what I mean. What about your reaction to it all?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously we have to reevaluate, as a transfer business, because of the Champions League or non-Champions League, as the case may be. We're going to have to maybe look at, the plan B, as the case may be, when it comes to transfers, because we're not going to be able to guarantee, or we're not going to be able to offer anybody any Champions League football next season. So that's disappointing. But what I was just going to say before was, although I think you'd like to think that a large majority of those asking or demanding for Arteta's head, after they've had time to think about it, will realise that, I think he's done a good job, and I think he's got the most out of the squad. They've just run out of steam at the end, and it makes it even worse that it's that lot that have got that spot that obviously we wanted. But yeah, I mean, I'd have loved it. I'm with you. I think these last couple of games. It's not just these last couple of games. It's the we've been stumbling along, haven't we? We haven't exactly been hitting top form the last 2 or 3 months. But definitely the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks, we've been stumbling, and that's obviously because of our paper thin squad, as we've said on numerous occasions. But I mean, we came so close, and we said at the start of the season, didn't we? I remember it clearly. If we can improve and get into the top 6 come the end of the season, then that's a success. And I do understand the frustration, and I do understand the disappointment. We all do, don't we? We all get how disappointing the Newcastle game was, how disappointing the Spurs game was. And I get the frustration, but I don't think the right thing, the reaction, I just don't think the right way to deal with it is to go and attack the players or attack the manager, because they've all done so well. And I think they've all showed us that there's been progress made. And it's certainly not our style to go attacking people, but I just think it's more of a reaction. But I get it. I get people's disappointment. Bloody hell, no one's more disappointed than I am, I can assure you. But we're moving in the right direction, and I just think we need to focus on that. We can't forget about how many good, the good things that have occurred this season and the improvement that we've made. So I just think it's important to remember that.
While people are getting on the players' cases, which I'm sure they are, I've seen a couple of examples of it, but I think a picture said 1,000 words yesterday. When you look round, there was Odegaard absolutely devastated down on the floor. There was numerous players milling around, and they looked like their whole world had fallen apart. So bear that in mind as well. They haven't purposefully gone out of their way to get a loss and or 2 losses back to back. Interesting, you were saying about we've fallen at the final third hurdle. Too much emphasis on younger players, fatigue in those younger players, injuries at crucial times. Are they all a factor?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think in addition to what you've said, I think the lack of a genuine goal threat, it's not rocket science to see, the difference between Arsenal and Spurs. He's a world-class striker. And we know, we've been blessed down the years with so many great strikers that have got us over the line. How many years did Ian Wright get us over the line? Very average Arsenal sides. Henry. We've been so fortunate, and Spurs have those players, and we unfortunately don't. So I think that's a major factor. Obviously, with the benefit of hindsight, not strengthening in January, it was a gamble, and that has affected us. But I just want to reiterate again, we came so close with this group, and we're far from the finished article. On so many levels, this squad isn't the finished article, but we came so close with this current squad, and I think it's important to focus on just very little between us and Spurs, and they're going to get Champions League football.
Yeah, they haven't been brilliant, have they, in any shape or form? No. They've been patchy as hell, and we've just we've kind of fallen into that thing and let them through the door, haven't we? We've kind of turned our back to see what's going on, and they're in.
But you see, it's not last night and it's not the last week that's cost us Champions League. You couldn't help but think, the home defeat to Brighton was huge, a couple of weeks back, and the Palace away game, I know we spoke about it, that's a tough game, but you expected a reaction against Brighton and you didn't get that. And then we went away to Southampton and we got beat there, and you felt that those results were going to come and sting us in the ass, but so disappointing. But I've chosen, me, Tom, and my wife will say the same. I've never been the most positive, pre-match before Arsenal games. And this season they've changed my point of view. They've changed my approach to the way I look at Arsenal now, and I'm a lot more positive. And that's down to the young players, I suppose. They've rejuvenated me personally as a supporter, So definitely moving in the right direction.
Right, let's look at that Tottenham game. Not that we'll really want to go over it again, but let's have a look at that formation. It was a 4-3-3. It was Aaron Ramsdale, Tommy Asu on the left, Gabriel Holding, Cedric, Odegaard, El Neni, Xhaka, Martinelli, Nketiah, and Bukayo Saka. What did you make of that selection?
I think it was what we expected, right?
Did you have a problem with Tommy Asu on the left? Because I said on the audio podcast, it was a major issue for me because I thought the ideal matchup was with Son.
It's Son, that didn't make sense. You know what? I thought it was probably the right starting lineup. Nothing really jumped out at me other than that. And I thought we started the game well. I thought we played well. Passed the ball well. The first sort of 10 minutes, I thought we were on top, right?
Yeah.
From what I remember. And then it all went wrong, didn't it? Rob Holding decided to be a little bit too touch tight on Son. And
we'll get to that because there's some interesting opinions about that penalty. Do you think it was a penalty? I thought it was really soft.
I
Mega,
thought it
mega
was soft.
soft.
Yeah. I said at the time, you know, if that goes for you, I think you're very fortunate. I think you feel very fortunate. If that was down the other end, or I mean, it wouldn't be given, would it? But if it was at the Emirates, and it was Emerson Royale pushed Eddie Nketiah, and we got a penalty, I think we'd all be looking at each other and saying, "That's cool. We're quite lucky there." I thought you very rarely see penalties given for that. I mean, I can't think again. How many times have I said that to you? And over the, you know, things, you know, refereeing decisions against us, you hardly see given in any other game or, you know, again for any other side. And I thought it was very harsh.
3 opinions here, Jay, for you to digest. Dermot Gallagher, he's the sort of Jean-Luc Picard, isn't he, from Star Trek, of Sky Sports. He said it was a low tolerance penalty. So that's the first view. Keith Hackett, former FIFA and Premier League referee, said that it was stupid for him to push on Son, and that referees are now more strict in the entanglements in the penalty area. And Mark Clattenburg told the Daily Mail this was a defining decision in a match with so much riding on it. I'm not sure I would have given this. Not that Paul Tierney was wrong, but if we're going to give this penalty, I could find plenty of other examples when the same foul has occurred in the box in other games. Inconsistency is frustrating because when this happens next week in another Premier League game, will it be given? Maybe, maybe not. And that's the crux of the matter, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I'd love to know what a low tolerance penalty is. Like, what actually is that?
Very fluffy, isn't it?
I agree with Clattenburg. I think we've, you know, everybody's, you know, so many people now are so fed up with the inconsistencies when it comes to the officiating, aren't they?
Well, I think it's getting to the stage where any sort of contact will be deemed a yellow or a red card. It's getting ridiculous, isn't it? You've only got rub elbows and you get a yellow. Or that's how it seems. The battle between Son and Holding, it was a bit full on, wasn't it? Rob Holding, you could almost see his chest puffed out. I don't know what's the matter with my teeth today. They're not working. I might give the dentist a ring. I'm not sure. Yeah, they were really at it, weren't they? They were at it like knives. Did you see it coming to a head?
I mean, there was a few tangles, wasn't there? There was a situation where they both ended up on the floor, and it looked like Son threw a little bit of a cheeky elbow at him, which everybody saw that, you know, but he got away with it. And he was, you know, the first booking, he was a little bit touch tight, wasn't he? And as soon as Son turned him, he was having a few. I won't call them swipes, but he was trying to obstruct him, wasn't he? And you could see a yellow there. And then there was the second one, which, I mean, trying to give Holding the benefit of the doubt. You know, I think when you're on a yellow, you know, I just don't think you do that. You know, I just don't think, regardless of, again, I think it's soft. Son makes it look bad, doesn't he? I think he makes it look a lot worse than it is. And I think you've got to have to be a bit cuter if you're Rob Holding in that situation, where be aware of where Son is. You can still make contact. I don't know. I thought it was a bit silly, and I still think it's a bit silly from Rob Holding, a bit brain dead, to be honest. You know, he's an experienced player, and I think he should have. He's only just been booked. I think you can block him, but also make it look like it's not your fault as well. And he leant into it slightly, didn't he? And Son obviously made the most of it.
The thing is, some of these good centre backs, they haven't got the pace, but they've got the savvy, haven't they? Exactly. They cut down the space in a different way. They take up a different kind of position, and that's where he's just too emotional for me. He just got too captivated by
Chiellini, you know, the veteran Italian centre back, who, you know, you remember in the Euros final, he pulled back Saka's shirt, you know, when Saka was around him, and it's that kind of thing that, you know, clever, you know, that they for what they lack in pace, they make up for in intelligence and positioning, and Rob Holding just showed that his emotions got the better of him, didn't they? And he just he wanted to be that hero to the supporters, but in reality, he was the villain, and it was game over then. From that point on, I never felt we were going to get back into it. We were under too much pressure. We'd conceded a goal. I can't remember if it was 2-0 when Holding got sent off, but we were definitely behind for the Kane penalty. And no, it wasn't it? I think it was 1-0.
He went off, and then there was a subsequent corner while they were trying to work out whether Holding was coming on. There was a big old conflab, wasn't there? Where they started deciding what they were doing, looking at flip charts and getting their graphs out and all that sort of thing. And then he didn't come on, and then the ball came in from the corner, and Harry Kane dipped down.
It was at the back post, wasn't it? Yeah, and it was. I mean, game over.
They were just tactically better than us, wasn't they? They cut down the space, they pressed us, we couldn't get a ball out. That was the disappointing thing of that whole match. We just couldn't get any ebb and flow going.
No, I think the first sort of 10 minutes, I thought we did okay, and we were playing on. I think we were largely the better side, but as soon as they seized the momentum, we like you said, we had no answer, and you could say, I said this last night about I know we're going to get to the Newcastle game, but it was a theme in both of the games that I felt that we looked a bit frightened. We looked when things got heated and when the pressure was cranked up in the North London derby and against Newcastle. When things mattered, we crumbled, and they're a young team, so that may happen, and this is all experience, but it's a theme, when it matters. Does this Arsenal team crumble? And I think at the moment in the high pressure games, they probably do, and they probably they look around. You've got certain players on that pitch. We're relying on the youngsters, and we're relying on the leadership of Odegaard. But you look around, and in these high pressure moments, you need your experienced players, and you need the strength, and you need that extra bit of aggression, and to match them. You just, at the moment, we're lacking that for me, and I think you could see the fear in some of the players in the North London derby, and you could see the fear last night against Newcastle. And you go back to last season against Villarreal in the Europa League, and when the pressure really matters, I think these players are still naive. And I think, obviously, with experience, that changes. But I think that needs to be taken into consideration when we come to sign or the transfers for the summer. Some of the targets, I do hope we look at a little bit more experience that can help out the squad in situations where the pressure's notched up a few levels, where the pressure can be taken off these youngsters, and those that are used to it or have experienced pressure situations can deal with it and just look after the youngsters, if that makes sense. Because what I saw against Spurs and Newcastle we're a good side. Arsenal are up there, I believe, from a technical standpoint, we're as good as most teams in the league. I do believe that, but I think from a temperament and mentally, the mental side of the game, and being able to manage matches out, and because you don't always have to lose football matches, do you, Tom? You can draw, you can get something out of games. And I think from the mental side of the game, I still think we are quite, in comparison to other teams, I think we fall quite low down the league. And I think that needs addressing in the summer with some of the transfer targets. And I've waffled on then, but it was just something that, it was like for me, I was sitting there, and my long-suffering wife, she gets all of my my reactions, and it was something that really jumped out at me, that we just need a little bit more experience, a couple of experienced heads, just to look after the youngsters, and to let them know that everything's going to be okay. You continue to play. We'll deal with the pressure. We'll deal with the Harry Kanes. We'll deal with the Callum Wilsons. You guys don't worry about it. And at the moment, we're still very reliant, aren't we, on those youngsters?
Do you think that instead of Mikel, he was talking about going for the throat and all that sort of thing from the kickoff in the North London derby, as well as Newcastle? Do you think he only needed a draw from the North London derby? He could have structured it differently. I know he wants to give entertainment, but as it turned out, the two games, we didn't even turn up for both of them, did we?
No, I mean, I think, like you said at the top, Spurs aren't a great side, and I think Mikel looked at it and looked at Spurs and thought, we can get at them and we can win the game. And I think we definitely could have been a lot more pragmatic in our approach. I just think you don't always have to lose a football match, and we haven't defended very well, have we? It's not been great, not for a while, but yeah, definitely could have been a little bit more pragmatic.
I'm not going to do too much on the Newcastle game because I sat there in the pub last night and it was the longest time of my life. And then when it had all gone after the second goal, I was just, blow the whistle for Christ's sake. But let's talk about Newcastle. They did run us ragged, run us off the pitch, outplayed us at every single level and in every department. They were good, weren't they? And you can just think, looking forward to the summer, if they can get some more bodies in, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they're going to be higher up the table. I thought, first off, we apart from a sort of a 5-minute period midway through the first half, like you said, we got absolutely we got torn a new one. But luckily, we went into halftime and we weren't. It was 0-0. We weren't behind, and I thought, you know what, this is okay. This is okay. I expected a bit of a reaction in the second half, and in reality, it was actually worse. But Newcastle, they'll be, I'm sure, with all their money and the finances and everything that's going on there, we're gonna have to match them, aren't we? They're going to be a rival next season. They're already working on the atmosphere inside the ground, aren't they? So then they're trying to improve that. Even it's always been pretty good up there, but you could tell with the pre-match.
I was going to say, it doesn't need that much improvement, does it? I've been there a couple of times, and you get the shivers.
Yeah, they love it up there. But yeah, they're going to be a rival for sure for the top six, I think. And it was just so deflating, wasn't it? Seeing. Because Newcastle aren't better than us, they wanted it more, like Spurs did. We did, like I said before, we didn't know how to deal with it. We didn't know how to deal with the situation. We didn't know how to mentally be prepared for an onslaught and then come out the other end and look to create some chances of our own. We just shut down. And yeah, it was deflating.
It was like pulling teeth. Sorry, Callum Wilson, but it was like pulling teeth, wasn't it?
We're better than that. We are better than that. We're a better football team than that. But we just need to work on the mental side. And once we can address that, I think we'll be okay.
Some people are still holding on to hope that Norwich are going to do us a favour. Can you believe that? Not going to happen. We're going to say that it's the Europa League. That's done and dusted now after those two hideous and poor results. Let's do some emails. Oslo, I don't know whether it's like a region, a country, or it's a person, or might be a pet. Who knows? Let's be fair, says, we should have already qualified, but we lost our bottle.
Yeah.
What to say to that?
Yeah, well, I think it's a harsh way of saying that we blew it. We did blow it. It was right there for us. We were in we were in pole position for the Champions League, and we blew it. And we did. And it's like I said, it's a harsh way of saying it, but I suppose we did bottle it.
We were in the driving seat for a long time, weren't we, as well?
We were.
We really seized it by the balls.
We were, and we've just faltered. And, let me ask you this, just as I put a lot of this down to just how thin the squad is. When Mohamed El Neni has stepped in certain games and done well, but when it's mattered against Spurs and Newcastle, you can see that he he is Mohamed El Neni. You know, he is a very limited midfielder. Now, I'm not blaming him, but I'm just saying, when the going gets tough in these high pressure situations, you know, he's an established player. You know, he's an experienced player, but he's limited. Cedric limited, Nketiah limited. You know, these guys have been regular starters for us now for a good few weeks, and they are squad players. And when it emphasises just how weak our squad is. So let me ask you this: if you could rewind to January, would you have kept any of those players that Mikel got rid of? You know, and that includes Aubameyang. So let's just look at how those players that Mikel let go, how they could have benefited this squad. Because let me just ask you that: would any one of those, would you have kept any, or did you agree or still stand by Mikel's
Probably
decision?
Callum Chambers would be, although he's not my favourite player, he would have been a decent reinforcement. But as for Aubameyang and all those sort of troublemakers, Guendouzi, Torreira didn't want to play for us, so you know, you keep him at a distance. Bellerin wanted out. You know, I don't think there's any point in trying to hold on to people who either don't fit the brief or they just want away.
Yeah.
We needed someone in January. We needed a striker, a very good striker. When you bring on as a game changer, when you bring Pepe and Lacazette on, you know the tank is empty.
Yeah. Last throw of the dice. Absolutely. Last throw of the dice. I just think,
not only that, you're taking defenders off to put them on, and that leaves you more vulnerable. And so it turned out. But it's all water under the bridge, isn't it now?
Yeah. Yeah.
What we got next? There was a really good one here. Oh, you know who this is from. I hope you three Muppets are happy with this result that was destined to happen. Arteta was poor. The team were driven by emotions. This is about the North London derby. Instead of focusing on the game plan, if any. We got found out, and it's a Europa League for us. At least he's got some clarity there. This was, you know, back at the North London derby. So it's the Europa League for us instead of the Champions League. Tomiyasu on the left, replaced by a notoriously slow and average centre-back. Dreadful management. Although you three, he's not here, is he, Mitch? He's not copping the flack. He's jet-setting again as one of these students. He said you three would probably give him a knighthood. No substitution at a key time before the corner. This lot are woeful and embarrassing. And it's from John. Love John.
Yeah.
Hi, John.
Yeah.
There's some grain of truth in there, isn't there, to a degree, with some of the elements, but he's kind of puffed it up a bit.
I mean, he's frustrated. You know, I suppose you can't please everybody. Like, you know, John's entitled to his opinion, but I think it's, again, we keep saying the same thing. You like to think that most Arsenal supporters have seen improvement and have been happy a lot more. You know, if you look at the season, a lot happier than they have been sort of, you know, having negative thoughts about the team. But, you know, like, Mikel's not perfect. He does make mistakes. And like you said, there's some elements of truth in what John said. But no, he's not going to get it right. And he does get things wrong, doesn't he, from time to time?
Well, there's another John Gregory, who I quite like when I sort of get into a debate with him. The fallout from last night is inevitable. I thought it's just something flicked up on my screen. I thought we looked drained, devoid of energy, running on empty. The match had the appearance of fit men playing a team of boys.
Yeah.
So there's not much wrong with that either, is there, really?
No, I think they did look drained, and we've had to rely on the same group of players, haven't we? You know, we haven't got any options. You look at that bench, you know, it's just, there's nothing on there, was there? You know, and Pepe, he had a shocker when he came on, didn't he? So, yeah.
Well, he's done that all the time, isn't it? He comes on and he just sort of meanders about with or without the ball, and sometimes he looks like he's going to do some damage, but it's a puff of smoke, isn't it? It's a Willian. I call it a Willian.
He just
looking impressive going forward, but not really delivering.
Yeah.
What else we got? Michael Butler of The Guardian said Arsenal simply aren't a top four club at present. Of their starting lineup, Tavares, El Neni, Xhaka and Nketiah would be out of their depth in the Champions League, while only Martinelli is good enough on the bench. The rest of Arsenal's players are either over the hill or young players that need guidance and leaderships. Both attributes were badly lacking tonight. I think that's fair as well, isn't it? Pretty bang on.
Well, I think Saka, would be okay. Champions League, Odegaard, I think would be all right in there. I think it wouldn't take long for Ben White to adapt to the Champions League, But yeah, not many more. But we're not a top four side. Clearly, we'll end up fifth most probably, and that's probably where we deserve to finish.
Yeah, it's one of those. I still think we've been overreaching. We kind of got carried away because we were in the relegation zone, weren't we? 3 matches lost. Then we gathered some momentum and we started getting a run together. And then there's that obviously that opportunity to get in the Champions League. And I think no one really expected us to get there. No one. At the beginning of the season, as we've said many, many times on this podcast, we would have ripped your arm out of your socket just to get fifth.
Fifth, yeah.
And now it's a problem.
Yeah, and fifth is about where we are, isn't it? I think that's a fair reflection of where we are. We deserve to be fifth. We probably are the fifth best team in the league. Just need to crack on next season and try and push for improvement again.
That's all you can do, isn't it? Right. Rosine? Is that Irish? I think it is, isn't it? Rosine? She says, what's that?
Roisin.
It's spelled Rosien.
Yeah, Roisin. I think that's
right. Okay. Well, hey, are you in Ireland or are you over here? We're just making
Roisin. I think it's Roisin.
Right. Okay. Well, that's cleared that up anyway. She says, who has been your most consistent player this season? That's a bit randomised, isn't it? But we love it. Thank you.
I like questions. That's a good question. Positive question.
Yeah. We like a bit of pos.
I think Odegaard's been pretty solid, hasn't he? He's been pretty consistent. Saka has just ran himself into the ground, hasn't he?
Yeah. He looks a bit drained, doesn't he?
I'd go at Odegaard. He's relentless. He's had a good season, Martin Odegaard.
Another one, final one, Jason, same old story, but at least these youngsters can learn from this insipid display. Nothing to note of this game against Newcastle from an Arsenal perspective.
Yeah, they'll learn from it, and it's an experience, and it's a bad experience that they won't want to experience again. So they can use it, hopefully, use it as a positive from that point of view. But look, they're going to be gutted as we are, the players, aren't they? They're not like emotionless, just like statues. They're going to be gutted, and it's a learning curve for them. Make no mistake, they're going to be as disappointed as we are. And it's Mikel's job to pick them up and go again next season and make those right additions, because, I'm sure we'll do an end of season review, but, I think there's been a lot of positives this season. And I think it's still blatantly obvious where we need to strengthen and how this team moves forward, and I think it's Mikel's job and Edu's job to address those areas. And we could have a really good season next year. It could be really positive.
Silent Dave chipped in with a question for you. He said, ask him what his preference is out of the new red and white home kit, the pink kit, or the black and gold. Which one's your...
I do like the black one. I do like the black kit.
Say that looks really good, doesn't it?
It's really smart. I do get the whole the away kit should be yellow, but I do like that black. I mean, I quite like the red one. I'm not massively keen on the collar, but
yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah,
maybe feel a bit bilious.
Yeah, the pink one looks smart. It does look smart. But I mean, God, you should see my wardrobe. It's just full of Adidas Arsenal stuff. They've just
my right-hand side of the wardrobe is all Arsenal T-shirts, Arsenal reproduction shirts, going all the way down, and up in a bag at the top, I've got a signed 1971 Arsenal shirt with
Oh,
Charlie George,
nice.
Pat Rice, Bob Wilson, all those characters.
Oh,
And that was
fantastic.
Peter Marinello's benefit. Poor Peter Marinello fell on hard times,
Mhm.
and they had a function for him, and all the old boys lined up. And I was just hoping, because he's a hero of mine, Charlie
Yeah,
George,
yeah.
and I
Yeah.
thought, I really hope he's got a massive signature in there. And
Yeah.
I undid. I had a cup of coffee. I was like, well, I kept it out of the way. I didn't want to spill that on it, but I ripped it open, all excitedly like a child. And at the top, right the way across, I mean, it's like that deep.
Yeah.
It's a couple of inches deep, and it's Charlie George is the first
Oh.
one. And I was like, that's it. That's it. I'm having that one.
Fantastic.
Anyway, looking forward to Everton. We don't really care now, do we? I mean,
I mean,
nothing in it.
I think I've seen a few people or social, people on social media saying there's tickets now available for the game. People not that bothered. That's a shame, because the players do deserve like a good send off.
Yeah.
They do deserve a good round of applause at the end of the game. And look, it's disappointing, but it's way above, I think, all of our expectations. So Champions League not this year, but look, we have to improve, and we will improve, and I'm sure we'll make the right signings. And like I said, we'll go again next season. Start a little bit better than we did this season, and you never know, right? I think we need to look at the amount of defeats. We've lost too many games this year. Turn a few of those into draws, maybe, and become a little bit more consistent like that. And you live in hope that Mikel can get the players that he wants, and we can push on.
Going to do a score prediction, Jay?
Yeah, we'll win we'll win 2 or 3-0 on Sunday. It'll be pressure's off, and I expect us to dominate the game and put them to bed. And I hope there's a full house, and I hope they all get a really good send off.
A few new faces as well. Hopefully they'll get off the bench. I just want to show you this. Look, this is how my microphone's standing up at the minute. It's on a box. How professional. It's not exactly the BBC, is it?
Well, when you bring the camera up like that, you can't tell. So it looks like...
Yeah, look, 2 cardboard boxes.
Oh, fantastic.
Hey, it's all gone at the hinge. Jay, thanks ever so much, mate. It's been a pleasure. Mitch, wherever you are, I hope you're up to no good, because you should be, because you're a student and you're spending lots of the government's money, yours or ours, I don't really care. We'll see you next time, Jay. You look after yourself. Stacey, see you later.
See you, Tom.
Are you doing your tax returns?
Cheers, mate.
A shopping list for Arsenal, maybe, eh?
Yeah.
All right. See you later, Jay. Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.